Lucky me, just started a video, talked for 10 minutes straight, come and filled up, and then realised my audio's disconnected. Lovely. Excellent. Let's go. The realities of being a fucking shitty bitch. We're off. So before my audio, you rudely interrupted me and ruined the start of this video. This is the start of the video. And as you can see, it is unseasonably clement. No, not unseasonably clement. Raining. Again. Of course it is. It's what we love. It's what we've learnt to love in this country. Nobody loves it. What it is though, is the realities of commuting in winter. On a motorbike, that is, of course. No windscreen wipers here, bitch. Or roof. Just an empty lid. Whee. So, homies, there's a few things you need to know about winter commuting. Or the pain of winter commuting. Well, basically just the realities of it. If you want to do it, or if you're planning on doing it. The first thing is, you just need to be okay with rain. You just have to be, because you're gonna get wet quite a lot of times, and the realities of it is, you're not just gonna get wet, you're gonna get absolutely soaked. Like today, I'm gonna get very soaked, and I know I am, but fortunately, good old Adam has put a spare change of clothes in his bag, and I'm sort of just riding to work in my scruffs, which is fine, because I can just change into my work clothes at work, which is delightful. But rain's still not great, because not only do you have to consider the fact that you're going to get very, very wet, but there's also the process of getting your bike in and out, where you are going to be getting wet before you're even on the bike, because you are simply getting it in and out, whether you're getting it in and out of a garage, or it's locked up in your garden, or whatever. Or even if you're pulling it out of your butthole, you're going to get wet. The last one, you might get wet in a different way. That's outrageously shocking. One of the worst things I find though is the gear. So if your gear gets wet, it's wet through, on your way to work, guess where it's sat? Wet, dripping, creamy. Just for fuck's sake. Where it's wet and starting to smell at work, and then you get to put soggy clothes back on to then ride home, and then you stink because it's foisty as fuck. Problem being, once a motorbike jacket gets foisty, they can't actually be washed in the conventional sense. So washing them, I'm still trying to figure out. I'm guessing you just take the pads out and then, you know, like good old by the river, get one of them abrasive boards and wash it on one of those by hand. I think that's how I'll wash it. I need to, because it's foisty as hell, and you're probably gonna have to do this a lot of times through the winter, which it's just unless you want to smell like a grandma's sock once she's past the point of caring for herself, you know what I mean? It's not gonna smell great. Or an NFL player's arse after a game, or his underwear. Imagine that. Whoa, that's some funk right there. So you don't want that, of course. Nobody wants that. God, why would you want that? Why would you even suggest that? Sorry, I just... Whoa, bit of a slippage then. Let's try and keep the line as straight as possible. This is also the problem. The next thing to consider, darkness. Now, it's just starting to get a little bit of light, so you might be able to pick that up and it might not look too bad. But darkness is fine. It's going to be dark, it's going to be wet, cold. The problem is when it's dark and wet, and I mean more a lot of rain, you know, pouring down, because if it's pouring down and dark, there's going to be standing water. And it's not too bad if you get like cars, because they can shine, their headlights sort of shine on the road and reveal where the standing water is. But if you get a moment where there's no cars and there's no light or street lamps, it is so dangerous, because you can't see the standing water. And I've nearly had a few very close calls. And it depends what type of bike you have as well. Sometimes 125s aren't too bad because there's a lot less weight. But now that I'm on a 600, it's like disgusting how itchy you feel on wet and stuff like that. The next thing to consider steps up that level of threat when you get through autumn and the leaves have dropped and then it rains, because then you've got blankets of wet leaves, and wet leaves aren't exactly the grippiest material. There's a reason why tracks are made out of well-drained tarmac. Because other things like puddles and wet leaves aren't very grippy. But that's sort of an obvious statement, isn't it, I suppose. Don't pull out, you... What the f are you doing, you f... Honestly. They're like, oh well, it's yeah, right, we're going for it. Just get in front of this polo. See headlights coming round. The thing that winds me up, right, that wasn't that close of a call, but the one thing that pisses me off is they just do it like we can brake as hard as cars and it's not dangerous going down a hill in torrential rain. You know what I mean? Oh, maybe I shouldn't have kicked off like that, but it's the principle of it, bitch. Right, let's get to the front here. Let's be safe. Get out of my way, bitch. Yeah, so wet leaves, big no-no. Hello? Are you waiting to cross? Please cross safely once the light is green. For you. I'll give him a wave if he looks. Come on, bro. Look at me. Look at me, bitch. Look at me, bitch. Oh. Oh my god. You don't have to run away from me like that. That's just insulting. Right, here we go. Ready? Not exactly a MotoGP start, but... Oh god, that's very bright. Oh god. So the next thing you've got to consider, probably more of a rarity, but snow, okay? So snow in where we are, in north of England, in Yorkshire, we don't get much snow through the year, but we do get a few days, usually, of quite heavy downpours of snow. Heavy snowfall! I'm talking days where the bike cannot be used, because if you use it, you are almost inviting a crash, and it's just stupid. So you've got to ask yourself, do you have the other means of getting to work if it snows, or if it's icy? That's the worst. Black ice can get in the fucking bin. Do you have the other means of getting to work? Obviously, I mean, most people will, because there's taxis, but not a lot of people live in affordable taxi range of work. And if not, does your job offer work from home benefits? Because for my job, I can work from home. And if it's icy, everyone in the office knows I ride a motorbike. It's sort of common knowledge that, right, it's rain today, it's snow today, it's ice. Adam is probably gonna work from home. Obviously, I'll let him know. But to be fair, because of the option of working from home, most of the office works from home if it's snowing, just to be safe. Because the last thing you want is travelling over from, like, I don't know, Sheffield, and then being stuck at work because it snowed loads while you've been there. No one wants that. No one, alright? No one. Oof, it is very wet today. I'm feeling it today. It's getting uneasy. Uneasy, bitch. So now that I've talked about just the weather, because that is probably the biggest part. No, I haven't. Sorry. Cold. That's one of the main things. Cold. Do you have heated grips? If that's a no, just get some. Heated gloves, that's probably a good one, that, but you need to wire them up most of the time anyway. I've actually got thicker riding gloves this time, which is nice because it does keep my hands nice and toasty, but we've not quite hit those freezing temperatures just yet, so I'm yet to really feel the cold and see how it abuses me. But last year I rode the 125 with the summer gloves until just after my birthday, when I was gifted heated grips and I fit them, so that was up until like mid-December. So I think I should be okay this year with thicker gloves, because I do need to sort some heated grips for this bike, because they were on the last bike. And if anyone's fitted heated grips, you know that you can't really take them back off of the bike unless you've got replacement grips to go back on the bike, because you've got to basically cut the old grips off. Slowly does it round the roundabout, slowly does it, and gun it off. Yeah, so make sure you've got yourself some very warm gear, okay, warm gear, and a balaclava or a snood is gonna help hugely. Well, now that I've talked about the pissing weather, the next thing you need to know is your bike. So it's not too bad at the minute because there's not been any threats of snow, so the gritters haven't been out, and it's just not too bad at the minute. But once you start getting gritters out and you really get into winter, the road is going to be covered in salt and shit. And it's not that it makes it harder to ride in necessarily, because it's sort of done. The rain's the rain, the ice is the ice, and it's going to do it to you if it wants to do it to you. But if there's grit down and salt, bad thing that does, if it's wet especially, is it will stick to your bike. It sticks, and it loves all the metal bits of your bike that it sticks to, and then it fucking rots them. It rots and rusts, and it is not a good situation if it's left. So you need to be prepared to give your bike some TLC, and I'm talking almost daily TLC. So what I usually do through the winter, if I'm not being lazy, or what I will be doing this winter, is once that happens and grit starts going down and stuff, I will, whenever I ride my bike, if it gets wet, hose it down when I get home. If I've been on it, that is. I won't just go outside to a freshly hosed bike and just hose it again just for the sake of it, because I'm not a butt face. But I'll hose it down daily, and then probably weekly give it a good wash. A good wash. And your chain especially, like, that needs to be kept in tip-top conditions over the winter. So that is one of the most important things, especially, you know, I know people buy winter hacks so that they don't have to do that because they're not as precious about the bike. But if you've only got one bike, or your bike and your one bike is quite expensive, or just your pride and joy or whatever, just do it. Honestly, just do it, because if you get a year down the line and your bike is orange from rust, you will not be best pleased. So proper cleanliness and maintenance through winter is of paramount importance. And it doesn't matter how new your bike is. You might go, oh well, mine's not going to rust, it's brand new. Oh, it'll rust, and that brand new baby will be not so brand new looking after a very short amount of time. So just be prepared. There's quite a lot of things to consider when thinking about winter commuting. But to be fair, in the grand scheme of things, other than the extra cleaning, if it's been wet, there's not really any extra you've got to do. It's just what you're gonna experience. So you'll be on the same rides, it's just you'll be a bit colder, and some days you might be a bit wetter, okay? And some days you might have had a close call because the snow's caught you out, or ice out, and then your pants are a little bit browner. But it's nothing you can't get home, warm up with a nice shower or a bath, and bathe your troubles away. Unless you fall off, then you can't just bathe those troubles away. You got to pay. But fortunately, for the next 2.5 weeks or so, from filming this anyway, I won't be on the bike actually, because, as you know, knee surgery is on its way. But yeah, so if you're thinking about commuting in the winter, let me know if this has been helpful, or let me know if this has convinced you or not, or talked you out of it. If it's convinced you, you're a little sicko like me. If it's talked you out of it, you're a little bitch. So enjoy your winter commuting regardless. Enjoy it if you're just a fair weather rider and you're like, I ain't fucking doing any of the shit you just said. And as always, be loved. What? I said that like I say it all the time. I've never said that. I mean, being loved is not a bad thing. If you are loved, then love you too. Well, there you go, you're loved. Right. Peace, my bitches. Stay safe. Stay frosty.